This is the Infinity Summit Group. Truth, passion, success.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Infinity Summit Group podcast. Today is November 1st. I'm Jesse.
I'm Noah, 2021, by the way.
Oh,
Xavier.
What did I say?
You said November 1st. You just forgot the year.
Oh.
You're good.
Okay.
It was close
I'll
enough.
just let them know what year we're in, because a few years down the road, we're going to want to know.
Yes. All right. And today we have Gordan Kelsch on as the guest.
Yes,
Wanna say
welcome.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Gordan Kelsch.
Anything about you?
Yeah, anything cool?
Putting him on the spot
Not
like
exactly.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Give him a question.
No problem.
Pop a question.
I am
Will you marry me?
well, let's talk after the podcast.
Okay.
No problem.
No, I am an animation student. Well, soon professional. I have
Hell
an
yeah.
interview next week.
Ooh.
Congrats.
Hell yeah.
Are you shooting to do that for like cartoons or anime?
For like video games.
Yeah, like what kind of anime are we?
Yeah, closer to cartoons, anime, the hand-drawn 2D style.
Okay.
Nani?
Yeah. What made you want to get into that?
Okay, so
Start from the beginning.
Please.
well,
You were
okay.
born.
Okay. Well, in the beginning, I was really nerdy and really liked movies.
Uh-huh.
And at a certain point, you can only watch movies for so long before you realize you're wasting your life.
Sure.
So you got to find a way to justify how much time you've wasted. So I figured if I turned all that time watching movies into research about how movies are made, then I'm justified. But the actual trigger was my dad was a huge Star Wars fan, and we were watching the making of, and he was just blown away by the making of. He was blown away when we watched the original movies again on DVD, and it made me realize, like, because I knew I liked movies, but it was then that I was like, oh, like, I love movies, and I can make them. And so for a few years I tried, but when you're, in a middle schooler and you can only make movies about people your height and your age.
Yeah.
So, and you've only got so many friends, right? At a certain point, your friends are sick of being in your films because they're bad. So then it's like, okay, well, how do I make these movies and then not need to hire people because I got no money?
Sure.
But if you draw them, you can do it.
Oh.
So you're an artist as well.
Oh, well, no.
Question for you, though. You said you made movies. You got, like, camera setups and stuff?
I had camera setups, not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Lost some things in the move. We had I didn't have great setups. I had a somewhat cheap camera and then a tripod. And,
Yeah.
we actually used to have this really nice one. It was a big, thick one that looked like an actual photographer's or not
Filmmakers? I don't know.
yeah, filmmaker, cameraman. It was heavy and it made it to where it was really easy to get a good picture, and it was filmed on actual film, so the quality was really good. And we would it needed to be connected to the wall anytime you used it, so
Oh, that's hard.
you were limited in what you could do. But it was also nice because you could have the AV cables going straight into a TV.
Oh,
So
sick.
as you were filming, you had a big screen projection of exactly what the lens was. So you were kind of editing right as you were filming, and it was a really fun experience, but it was a really terrible quality.
Yeah. Fair enough. I was going to say, if you still got that stuff, let's shoot us a promo vid.
I think I have that camera, but I'll have to go find some film.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, would you ever go back into like filming live action ever?
Oh yeah, I've written some scripts for live action film. I just I wanted to finish. So this is one of my big issues, and it's one of my goals that I'm working on. I get obsessive. People used to be like, okay, you're on this project, don't lose hope, don't lose courage, keep at it, and don't burn yourself out. And my response was, who needs hope and who needs like enthusiasm when you have just pure obsession, right? Like, I'm not going to stop.
Guilty.
It'll just keep going. So the obsession just drives you. And that's not a good thing, because in the last few years, you're not a teenager anymore. That obsessive behavior starts wearing down your body, and turns out, having some passion's good.
Yeah.
Art turns out art is more of an art than a science, and art looks better with some passion in it.
Fair
You
enough.
can tell when someone's just kind of obsessively running the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
So now you do animation, not live action stuff. You were talking a little bit about you're going to school for it, doing like a self-taught course kind of thing. Tell us a little more about that. Like, how much does it cost? What's your time commitment been? What does all that look like?
All right, so
For our future animators out there.
okay, so I actually had a whole list of. I'm basically building a how to get into animation roadmap because I wish I had one when I started. And this was something I wanted to bring up earlier when you were talking kind of like, oh, you're an artist. So there is this thing called, I'm sure you're more familiar with it, and I might actually have the number wrong, something like 10,000 hours to become a master.
Yes. Yep.
It's a true lie. 10,000 hours will make you a master, but if you're mastering crap, then you're a master of crap. So, you can learn the wrong skills, and you will eventually gain some good benefits from it. But if you're, you can get the wrong skills as well. So I spent the majority of my middle school and my high school kind of self-teaching myself art. I didn't have a roadmap. I kind of just went for it, and I was animating short films. And I was doing them really poorly, and I put a ton of time into it, and they don't look great. So by the time I found a master, Don Bluth, who's made a bunch of films, and he was teaching me all these proper skills, it wasn't just learning the new skills, it was unlearning things that I thought I knew about animation. And I had some skills carry over because, I mean, that much time will give you some skill, but you can also just learn a lot of bad habits. So I ended up being behind in my class trying to curb all these really bad skills and then trying to replace them with the good skills. So you can, and this is what my new teacher is saying, Michael Matisi. I'm not his apprentice yet, but I am following his course. He always says, you can grind bad practice.
Oh, yeah.
He says, practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. So you want to watch out for bad habits.
That's why they always say perfect practice makes perfect, not practice.
Yeah.
There also is something in the teaching world called the law of primacy, where anything you learn first will stick with you and be that much harder to unlearn.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I didn't know what that was called, but I've definitely been dealing with that.
Yeah. Now you know.
So is you said Michael McTicey?
I actually may be pronouncing his name wrong. I think it's Matesi.
Okay. Is that who you're going to do the job interview with, try and work under him?
No, I wish. This interview, so you're saying we're not doing name drops. Can I talk about this? They're not a full company yet.
Should be able to, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, definitely.
You're not
If it's in a
slandering
good light, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
you just don't slander people
So
with name drops.
this is, and I may be getting their name wrong as well because they spell it strange, but it's Stoics, I think. It's 2 Ks.
Okay.
They sell sporting goods, that kind of like clothing, bikes, that kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And they needed a lot of photographers and different things like that, but they also wanted animators. Now, I'm trained more in traditional animation, and so hand-drawn character type of things. And I think what they're looking for is something more similar to like a movie, like if someone had a high-end photograph of a guy biking, they want that the layers to move and to seem more interesting.
Yeah.
This is like motion animation.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a different field, but I do have friends in the art community who have taught me how to do things in Toon Boom where you can set up a rig on a 2D character. And it's a similar process, but it would be on something like After Effects, which I knew when I was in school, and it has changed a lot since my days in school. So
Okay. So you're going into this interview knowing what they kind of expect from you, hopefully.
assuming what they expect.
Fair enough. And just going to basically tell them, hey, this is how I've been trained, but I can definitely do this stuff. And also I'll get better with time kind of thing.
That's my hope.
Good.
I'm hoping to sell them on my obsessive nature and my passion for learning.
Of course.
Because one of the reasons I wanted a job in the first place in the field was just because I'm doing my own cartoon on the side. I've got stuff up on YouTube, but I want to be surrounded by
Is that
artists.
private or public?
It's public. I haven't advertised it heavy yet because the episode I released is a little bit choppy and I was making a revision on it. And we can talk more about that in a minute.
Oh,
but,
we will.
just for the... sorry, can you remind me where we're...
Stoic.
Yeah.
Just for the job. So you're going into the interview.
Yeah.
And you're
Sorry.
selling them on your
Selling them on your
obsessive.
Oh, right,
obsessiveness
right.
and your will to learn. Yes.
So that's one of the reasons I wanted to get in. I want to be surrounded by people who do these kinds of things so I can get those kinds of skills. And I've always wanted, I do some light editing, and this would be pretty heavy editing, and I would love to learn more on that. So I'm hoping to basically catch them with my passion.
Yeah.
And I have some skills, so hopefully that will carry over as well.
Is this a Utah company?
It is. It's actually in Salt Lake.
Oh, cool.
Nice. And you say they're fairly new.
Yeah, I didn't know that at first when I applied, but looking up their website when they sent me their email, it's like under construction. I think it'll be. I think
very
they're
new.
planning on launching this year. I think if they hit their deadlines.
That's kind of a good
sweet,
thing, isn't
get
it?
in on the
'Cause then
ground
you
floor.
can
Very
grow
good.
with the company.
Grow with
Yeah.
them. Yep. If
It
you're one
also-
of their top animators, man.
Yeah, it also would hopefully mean that I don't have like a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. Hopefully you found a diamond in the rough you can get with.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
So depending on how this goes, I could end up being with the company for a long time. But the original intention is basically use them to get my foot in the door, to get into
Yes.
an actual animation studio, and then learn real animation studio techniques from being around other animators, and then move up from there. I do have my own shows I'm making, and I want to eventually have my own studio. But having a lot of practical experience would help that go a lot further.
Oh, yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
I heard if you move jobs every 2 or 3 years-ish, especially in the tech world, you can get a lot of, we'll say a lot bigger raises than if you were just stay at one place.
To do that in the auto industry. I know Uncle Sam just switched body shops, and they gave him a $10,000 sign-on bonus and
Holy
$2 an hour raise. Yeah.
There you go.
Whoa.
So,
That seems backwards. Seems like
Stay
you're
fruity.
disloyal.
Yeah.
nah, man.
But he's done it like 4 times. They pay
Look,
him
a
like
company is only as loyal
Wow.
to you as the work is, basically. So your work stops, they can't afford you, whatever. They're not loyal to you. They're only thinking of the numbers. And if you get your head in that same mindset, just think of the numbers. Nobody's gonna. I mean, if they choose to have a grudge against you, that's their problem. But you do what's good for number one. You know.
Yeah.
And the fact that you put in your 2 weeks or whatever, when people quit, that's just
Are you quitting?
that's a kindness.
Or are you waiting till the interview?
I'm waiting for the interview.
See what happens.
I've never had a job interview.
Right, because you went straight to Fash, huh?
Right.
Okay.
And I had been helping out at Fash.
For years before you were hired?
Yeah, it's a family thing, so I
Yep.
just helped out occasionally. And then by the time I was old enough to be an official worker, I just was an official worker.
Yeah.
There was no interview process. I mean,
They just took you on because they already knew you.
official work versus helping is completely different. So you're kind of going in blind still. But
Mhm.
like it was just a different number in the ledger, and then you're on.
Yeah.
So this would be my first real interview.
Mm-hmm. Nervous?
Yeah.
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 It's okay. There's a lot of. I'm sure you're looking up like things, the recommended things to do in interviews and stuff. But the one thing that I would say is don't forget to put forth that you are a human. When people go into interviews and they're just robotic, and you can tell they're like super nervous and just like studied the hell out of it. Like I'm ready for this, and it's just like a test, then you're going to be less likely to hire someone like that versus someone who's like kind of chill, but like, you can tell they're human. Obviously, they're going to be nervous. It's an interview, but you can still tell that they're a person, and you can kind of relate to them. That's going to be the big thing. If you can, do some studying about the company if you haven't yet. They're gonna like to see that you know a little bit about their company before you go into it. Yeah, and that's pretty much my advice to you. I've done a few interviews in my day, so
Thanks.
that would be the recommendation.
Yeah, I really should be doing. I meant to study them quite a bit, and I've done some study, and I meant to study interview techniques, and I asked some friends.
Yeah.
But I didn't do a lot of research
Yeah.
and that goes back to obsessive behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So right before I came over here, I was directing voice actors. So like
Okay.
I have an obsessive schedule and I can't break it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
When is your interview? Is it like right soon here?
Well, we thought so. So I actually thought they weren't interested anymore, even though they had they kind of contacted me and wanted to see more of my stuff.
Yeah.
Then it was silent for a while, so I was like, oh, never mind, they're not interested. And then during the Halloween party, they had sent it to me while we were all doing the trunk or treats, and they were saying like, hey, we're super excited, we want you, please come to the interview, here's the sign up. And then a few minutes later, delay till next week. So, and this was on a Sunday, so I'm not sure which next week they're talking about.
Did you contact them and ask?
Well, they
Did
said
they give you a date?
they said that they'll be emailing me with the next dates.
Oh, okay.
I don't know when that email, like,
Fair enough.
it could be this week or next week, and then it could be I'm getting the email this week or next week for an interview
Whenever.
the next week or the next week.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
How is it owning a house, or being a partial owner? You're partial owner, right?
Yeah.
That was a big change.
That was a
Okay.
big change.
We could go
A
back.
little closer.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Or you can also angle it up a little bit toward you. Yeah, they like to drop a little bit. There you go. Yeah, we can jump on this train.
Hard segue. Sorry about it.
You're full of them. I'll tell you that much.
Makes it interesting.
I love it. It was definitely it's hard to say because the first 6 months were definitely easier financially because I'd saved up so much money,
Oh yeah.
and just paying your parents' rent versus paying real rent is a
Yep.
different beast.
Absolutely.
But also, right when I got the house is when my back got all messed up.
What'd you do?
My L5 had a fracture, and it was poking right into the center of my nervous
The
system.
nerve?
Ouch.
So it was shutting down a lot of my body. It gave me incredible back pain, incredible leg pain.
Mhm.
It was hard to sit down. It was hard to stand up.
How'd you do that?
Obsessive behavior. When you got to go to work, you go to work. I don't know.
Fair enough.
You do it, and then you come home and you pass out, and then you wake up and the alarm's going off and you go back to work. This was one of the only stretches of my life where I wasn't actually animating anymore. So
Okay.
that explains how much pain I was in, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
Jesus.
Is it still all messed up, or is it better?
It's technically still messed up. The bone we didn't fix, and the reason for that is when I went to go see the doctor and we got an MRI, he was saying, you are in a super lucky position. You're healthy, I guess,
Mhm.
healthy enough that I don't want to give you a surgery and I don't want to give you steroids like I would tell most people. In fact, and at the time I was 23, he said there was another 23-year-old who had just come in here like a week ago. Same problem that you have right now. He's overweight. He'll be getting surgery. His back will never be the same again, and his life is basically over as far as
Fuck.
having a normal working condition.
Yeah.
He said, you've been healthy your whole life. You can probably go to physical therapy, build some muscles to help recuperate from this, and you will probably get back to a normal life. And from there, I've mostly done that. Had to do a lot of like right above the pelvis, like crunches without crunching your stomach, and a lot of strange like crab walking motions and different things to try and rebuild those muscles. And you're basically trying to build enough muscle in between the kind of like point, the spur part of your bone, in between that and your nervous system to space it out, kind of. Which I've mostly done. I used to be a lot more flexible than I am now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Fair enough. Because you've built up that muscle there, and so now you're real solid.
Well, it's not necessarily being solid as much as there's still some slight pains, and I can't move quite like I used to. But I've gotten back like at least 90% of my life. I don't feel it on a normal basis anymore. It's not unless I'm doing something really strenuous, or
Yeah.
there's certain ways if I move my back, like pivoting your hip and your back in kind of a strange way,
Mm-hmm.
like I used to, because I didn't think about it. I'd fold myself into a bookcase.
Yeah. Whatever.
I didn't think about it. Now I'm like more conscious about how I'm moving, because I'll get like slight twinges you can like feel it. I don't know. It's just sharp and it's fast, but it like lets you know, like, knock it off.
Yeah. So back to this, back to your house. I imagine you guys have built quite a bit of equity in it at this point
Yes.
between the few of you. Awesome.
I mean, as far as the house value, it's worth like $150,000 more than I paid for now.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
That's nice.
So the question is,
Yeah.
are you going to use that equity at all?
Yeah.
Or are you going to keep it in the house?
Financially, especially with how much harder it is owning a house than not owning a house, it would make a lot of sense to just sell it, get a huge paycheck, and then go find something else.
Yeah.
But as far as,
Probably have to rent for a bit right now.
yeah, as far as having the freedom to do what you want and having the room to have my own animation studio and make cartoons,
Mm-hmm.
it's priceless.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's all I really want to be doing anyway.
So, I will have you know, have you heard of a HELOC, a home equity line of credit?
I have not.
So, it's basically where you appraise the house, and they allow you to take out a certain portion of your equity value in a loan, so you can actually see all that cash without having to sell your house.
Oh,
And you can use that for other things if you're interested in things like that. So,
that would be really nice.
yeah. Talk to us more, man. We'll hook you up.
I've actually been meaning to. I've been meaning to get into more stock type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, we're fucking nerds.
You.
I'm a nerd. I love that shit, dude.
I love it. I just never had enough time to really dive into it.
It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort, Ziv, to learn everything. But there's a few basic things you can do that would be closer to guaranteeing success in that field. For sure. It's never 100% guaranteed, but no investment is. But yeah, let us know. We can play around with some stuff. Hook you up with some whole life insurance and whatnots, or term insurance if you don't have life insurance right now. You want to protect your assets, and the biggest asset is yourself. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it's super fun. So you said you had a lot of money at the start when you had the house. Did you just put like a big down payment on it and use a lot of that money, or did a lot of that money disappear as you were doing the monthly payments into the house?
Both.
Okay.
That, and then a lot of payments towards physical therapy and doctor bills, trying to get my back fixed. And
I
then
thought you guys have pretty good insurance over there.
Oh, we do, but
Still expensive. All the co-pays and stuff.
yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, those, and then just not anticipating the exact change in cash, because I feel that I've always been really good with my cash.
Yeah.
But I guess I wasn't on this. They don't teach you exactly how to pay your bills in school.
No.
So there were some things that I knew basically how to do it, and I had the money, but then I would send it to not quite the right account, or they would take it before I thought they would take it, or they would take it but it'd be pending, and then another bill would get paid, and then that one would go override the other one. So despite having the money, they didn't take the money, and then you get paid. Then you get charged late fees.
Extra, yep.
So getting trying to figure out the system and then getting all these late fees took another chunk out. Which isn't to say I'm struggling or anything.
No.
I think I'm good enough with my money to manage, but I don't have the cash to blow like I did when I was just a kid living with my parents.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So do you keep a good nest egg of savings and stuff on the side just in case? You never know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And that's been an obsessive behavior of my dad, which passed into me. So I've been doing that ever since I've had money.
Okay.
I've always saved half of anything I've ever earned. But
Damn.
Do you still do that?
I still do that, except I ended up spending that big chunk to get the house.
Right.
So that nest egg's gone, but it was useful.
Yeah.
So I consider that a fair trade, because otherwise you're just, what's the point of having a wad of cash if you're not making it work for you?
Yes,
True.
definitely.
And then, but yeah, trying to rebuild that nest egg back up has been a struggle.
A little bit harder.
Especially with all the hospital bills. It made growing that back a lot harder than I would have assumed.
Fair enough. So what do you say your percentage is now that you're able to actually save of your monthly income?
It's still over half.
Oh, okay.
Fuck.
Good. Heck yeah.
How the hell?
For real?
Yeah, and that's part of the obsessive behavior. I cut it in half and put half into the nest egg, and then I take another 100 and put that into the nest egg, and did it into a different nest egg that was supposed to be for my car, which I also got a new car, and that was another huge blow.
Yeah, that's expensive. Did you cash that out or get a loan on it?
No, I cashed it out.
Okay.
I've never loaned on a car. The only loan I've ever had in my life is on the house.
Okay. Do you have credit cards?
I had one, and then I never used it, so I
Okay.
shredded it. Probably wasn't great for my credit.
Yeah, fair enough. I will give you this just little modicum of advice. It's generally recommended to have 4 lines of credit open, whether that be credit cards, cars, houses, whatever. And using at least one of those consistently and just paying it off every month, whatever, will build your credit a lot faster. And the sooner you have those lines open, then the longer your credit history is.
Okay.
So just my recommendation to you would be just go open some credit cards as soon as you can and just let them sit in your drawer. Because as long as you have them open, you have the history.
Yeah, I think technically, even though I shredded my card, I'm pretty sure it's still open.
It's still open.
So-
Oh, yeah. I don't think they close them unless there's years and years of inactivity, but I don't know exactly. But, yeah.
Yeah, and originally I was going to replace that card. And part of the reason I had to shred it was I tried to use it to open a locked door. So
That makes sense.
So it was just ruined.
yeah. But I meant to get a replacement, but that was right around COVID happening, and my bank's been hard to work with ever since COVID.
Oh, dude, everything's been hard to work with. It's bullshit. But
What else do you do in your free time?
Yeah, actually, animation. I do animation.
free time, question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
So, animation and writing. Okay, so if we broke down my day, we could.
Let's do it.
Let's do it,
Let's
yeah.
break it down.
Let's break down my day up until recently.
Okay.
So my day was, I wake up at 5:30.
Mhm.
I get ready for work. I leave for work at 6. No. Yeah, 6:20. I arrive at work at 6:50. I work until 3:30. I return to my home at 4 o'clock, and exactly at 4, I would grab something light like a piece of bread, and then I would start animating until it was supposed to be around 10-ish, but it wouldn't be. It would be normally 11 or 12-ish. Then I'd fall asleep, and then I'd repeat the process.
Damn.
This
Committed.
yeah, obsessive committed behavior, not healthy for you. So
I need to channel you somehow.
So I've followed this guy on YouTube named David Stewart. He writes books. I'm a big fan of his, and he also makes music. So I think this is why I started following him. He seemed just as not obsessive, but just as
Driven.
yeah, as I was. He was doing the kinds of things I wanted to do. He was making music. He was making YouTube. He was making books. He had his own farm. He had his own family. He had his own house. He was doing all these things simultaneously, and I was like, that's what I want to be doing. And so I've been following his videos because he does these long live chats. He'll normally have something in the background. I can't remember what it used to be, but currently he's been playing through all the Final Fantasy games.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that no one's actually there for Final Fantasy. Everyone's there for him to talk, and he's just letting Final Fantasy go in the background while he talks. So I've learned about the Roman Empire and different things just from listening to him.
He's got that crackhead energy.
Yeah, well, he knows a lot. He used to be a history teacher.
Okay.
But one of the things he kept saying to all of his followers was, you can't work 8 hours a day and then come home and then work the rest of the hours of the day and then fall asleep. It's not healthy for you. You will burn out. And if it's something, and again, it's like art's more art than science, you're going to burn out your passion and it will be noticeable. You have to, he's like, you have to at the very least take 1 hour to do something and he's like, and here's where you're all gonna freak out because you all think that what you're doing is your hobby and it's fun. You're trying to get something out of it. It has to be lazy. It has to be something like reading a book that's not going to teach you something. It's got to be like a fictional book, or it has to be a movie, or like a TV show, or some music. It has to be something that won't get you anywhere. It has to be lazy, and you have to do it before you go to bed. Otherwise, you're just going to build all this up in your head. So I finally took it. It took me a long time to finally take his advice, but I did. And so my current schedule is similar deal up until I get home at 4. I take an hour to make food, and then eat and then chat with my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Then from 5 till 8, now I work on my show. And so from 8 to 9, I will do something lazy. And it's been varying. I don't watch a lot of movies up until just recently. I saw some movies, but I think in this entire year I've seen 4.
Whoa.
And one of them was twice because I fell asleep and I counted it twice. So I haven't seen a lot of movies, but I was reading a lot of books. And then I sleep at around 10ish. And my other friend who's an animator says I'm still being too obsessive and still working too hard, and that I have a very long list of side projects I've been working on,
Mm-hmm.
and she keeps telling me, well, you're never going to get them. She's like, and she's a big fantasy fan. She's like, these are animation is your quest. You have a very long list of side quests. Maybe you should knock some out before you finish the quest.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, that
Can you get
schedule.
just a little closer.
Sorry.
You good?
That schedule will remain for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesday and Thursday are now for study and for
Side quests.
side quests. Lately, it's been working on a portfolio, which seems to have worked.
Mm-hmm.
Epic.
And I'm also making some comics, so hopefully those will take off. And yeah, I spend a lot of that time doing the study. So my time learning the Polish language, learning guitar, and doing Michael Matese's studies
Mm-hmm.
have been happening on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, cool.
And even though Friday is reserved, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday being reserved for the main show, Friday, Saturday are kind of loose. Like, it's rarely actually working on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you do have to take weekends.
Yeah, of course. Dang, I think you're really going to like stocks because it requires some crackhead energy. Yeah.
How much does an animator make a year, like on average? Do you know?
Let's see. I did look it up one time. I've forgotten off the top of my head. It's not great, and it's worse in Japan.
Really?
Yeah.
I would expect Japan to be way more up there because that's what their whole society is like based off of.
Only
right?
on the best ones, though, I'm sure.
Okay, so their society loves animation, kind of. Japan's got a very strict culture, and once you leave high school, it is kind of almost taboo to be like watching a cartoon. If you're in college, you can sometimes get away with it, but after that, it's like you are an adult, do adult things. There's all these myths about people playing like their Switches on the buses.
Yeah.
But from the people I know that have traveled there, they're like, that doesn't happen. If you're in Japan, if you are an adult, if you are on a bus, you are a serious person on a serious bus.
Ugh,
Wow.
that kind of seems bland.
Terrible.
I play the
strict,
Switch
yeah.
on the bus.
Oh, well,
all day, every day. Don't even.
Yeah.
It'd be so nice.
It's a
agree.
very strict culture, and it's because of that they have one of the highest suicide rates.
Makes
And they
sense.
don't
That
have
would add
kids
up.
anymore either. They have a declining population.
Didn't they have
Don't
like,
make a World War II joke. Don't make a World War II joke.
Hold on.
Please make it.
Okay, declining popularity does come from that. It also comes from kikimora. Sorry, that's the wrong word. Hikimora. Kikimora is a monster from Polish culture. Kikimora is a Japanese NEET, not employed, educated, or traveling. Does anyone remember?
I have
That-
no clue.
Acronym for what again?
Neat.
Neat.
Yeah, it's neat, but what does that mean?
I think
How does it connect? My brain's not working right now.
Okay.
They're losers that stay inside all day.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, so a lot of them tend to be pack rats, but that is, I guess, stereotyping. They do stay inside all day.
I think
But-
an equivalent word would be like incel.
Incel, that's a good word.
Oh.
So
Infidels.
Involuntary celibates.
the problem is that it's not just a thing that happens now. It has become part of the culture or the subculture of Japan, where a lot of young men who are feeling so suppressed by the culture and This partially also comes from the advent of telecommunication, internet communication becoming so much larger. It's so easy to see how other nations do things now, and how open it is and how free it is compared to how insular their lives are, that they just kind of hoard up and then don't travel, or they don't leave their house, their room, whatever, and then it starts the obsession behavior. So this brings in they end up they're not allowed to watch these cartoons. Okay, now all they want to do is watch these cartoons. Big boobied anime babe. You're not supposed to like that. It's not supposed to be hot. Well, now it's hot. That's become the new taboo.
Yeah.
So now you have all these young Japanese men who don't want a regular woman. They want a big boobied anime girl. And that goes twofold.
Makes
One,
sense.
they're drawn to be appealing, and also then the incel culture. But also, big anime chicks have big, easy-to-read expressions. They love the incel. Like, why wouldn't you be attracted to someone like that, who is going to forgive you for your mistakes, who's going to love you just because you're the protagonist, and is easy to read? Their expressions, they're not lying, they're not playing games. You can tell what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Losers.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Simps.
It's like they need to read No More Mr. Nice Guy.
That's
Highly
a damn
recommend.
good book. Yeah,
Highly recommend, by the way.
absolutely.
Got a couple books for you. If you're into history too,
Yeah, I love
got
it.
a damn good one for you. It's called Don't Know Much About History by Kenneth C. Davis, I think.
It is good. Yeah, I started reading it. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
You
it gives,
like the
gives
I
you
don't
kind
know
of a
shit. Huh?
brief
So
overview.
you like the book?
Yeah, I love history. Thank you.
Gives you kind of a brief interview, basically, from when Pilgrims landed in America, just before that, all the way up to, I think, around the 2001 /
Okay.
up to Obama, kind of. And it's pretty dang detailed. Gives you dates, figures, all that stuff. So it's pretty dang cool. And it's not the one-sided history. You know,
Yeah.
it's not his story or the winner's story. It's a legit story.
What's
Like,
this
this is what actually happened.
Don't know much about history.
Yep. I read it for AP history in high school, and yeah, and I keep reading it every few months because it's just so dang good. So, yeah. Just so you know.
You had a question you were gonna ask, right?
Oh, it's just about suicide nets. I was wondering if that was in Japan, like the suicide nets around the building.
That's in China,
That's China.
because they're slaves.
Probably Japan too, by the sounds of it.
I'm not sure.
Do you happen to know how much higher Japan suicide rates are than, say, America?
We can find
Bet
out.
you,
Yeah,
Google
let's
it.
find
I
out.
was gonna say I knew this at some stage. I do know that, like, I don't know that they have suicide nets, but I do know that it has become, and this was made popular by Logan Paul or whoever, but
Oh.
suicide
The
forests.
suicide
The
forest,
old
yeah.
forest, yeah.
Yeah, like they don't have Makeout Hill, they have Suicide Forest.
Ah.
Makeout Hill. What is that?
Oh, well,
We'll go later.
Okay, say less.
Check it out.
Isn't that like a artist thing, like the XXX Tentacion? That's all. That's the only thing I know. Makeout Hill.
Makeout
know.
Hill's a little bit older than that.
Oh.
Can't remember when it became popular, probably the 50s, but it's, after prom, we'll go up to the hill and we'll make out.
Okay.
I did not know that.
You've
Have to
really
check it
never
out.
heard it before?
Makeout Hill, never. I've heard Suicide Forest.
So with this whole animation thing, you're planning on having that as your full-time career, not part-time, correct?
Correct.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
That would be sweet.
No matter what you make. Have you read The Richest Man in Babylon? Another book for you.
No, I know I've definitely heard of this book. I'm just trying to remember if I read it or not.
Moral of the story, you set 10%
Mhm.
10% of your earnings aside for yourself, 20% for all your debts, and then you live on 70% or less. So
Right.
the way you're doing it, living on 50%, you could increase a lot of those numbers. Yeah.
Which I remember that story, and I remember a little after I got my house, that kept coming up because I kept being like, man, I got no cash. Maybe I should be listening
Yeah.
to that Babylon guy. Maybe I don't need to be saving 60% of my cash.
No, that's the way. But you just got to learn how to use it or know someone who does.
Mhm.
Talk to us.
Yeah.
We'll let you know. We'll get that money working for you. Not a problem.
Sweet, I need
Um,
it.
yeah, we'll hook you up. Let us know.
Absolutely.
From what I'm seeing, it looks like Japan, and as of 2016, was 16 suicides per 100,000, which the U.S. was 14 per 100,000.
So quite a bit higher than the U.S.
Where's China?
If you're going percentage-wise.
China, I have no idea. Probably a
Let's-
lot because
Yeah.
they're communists.
Yeah.
The numbers aren't even real. They're all faked. Okay.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
So
a lot of news actually is faked. A lot of the news you get from Poland is fake, or at least spun really strange.
mhm.
So having friends in Poland who are telling me what's on their news versus what's on my news, they're not lining up.
Yeah.
There's definitely
Sure.
some weird things.
Some inconsistencies.
So
Have
this
you-
is, as of 1995, it was 17.1 per 100,000.
For
And
China?
and I can only imagine it's gotten worse.
Have you been to Poland? Why are you trying to learn Polish?
Oh, I have Polish friends, so
Oh.
it just kind of
Where from?
Where
Like from Poland,
Poland.
obviously, but like,
How'd you meet him?
how'd you meet them?
Oh, so my one friend especially, she had joined the Don Bluth University just like I did, and this was an online university for the most part. So the year of 2018, the entire year, or I guess going from September of 2018 into August of 2018 into September of 2019, I was just an animation student under Don Bluth, and there was people from all over the world. There's some people that I met from Canada, and a lot of them were from America though. But during our last week, we all went to meet him in person in Arizona.
Oh.
That's cool.
So I met up with all these people from all around the world there, and then I think that's also maybe part of my obsessive behavior. I get like when I meet people, I have a hard time not just like getting too involved in people's lives maybe,
Mhm.
and then I normally try to hold contact really good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know. It almost feels obsessive, like,
Mhm.
because sometimes you're like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but sometimes it's like you just almost can't handle not getting the updates or something. I don't know, but
Of course.
we ended up becoming really good friends, and since English was only her second language, I thought it'd be fair to
Get Polish as your second language.
right, and so
That's
we
cool.
could try to talk on more equal terms. And I've been teaching her some English, and though not much, she's actually really good at English, but better than some people I know. So
Yeah.
uh,
Fair.
All right, hate to interject again, but this is in China, 99 out of every 100,000 people commit suicide.
Holy
One
shit.
new
Gosh.
one. And in India, it's 98. And it says
Damn.
they think China, India, and Japan account for 40% of the whole world's suicides.
Shit.
I would believe it.
That's tough.
That's like 40% of the population right there. So makes sense. No, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Holy
Do you-
cow.
Are you trying to have a relationship with this girl or what? You're talking quite highly of her.
I look up to her quite a bit. She's been a huge help in making my show. She's been a really good friend to me. So
Does she have really good facial expressions?
And big boobies. It might be on the
It's
agenda
all right.
by the looks of it.
That can be rhetorical.
well, in case said persons are listening to this podcast, I will keep that rhetorical.
Fair enough.
That's sweet. Sounds like you've quite a gig going on.
Yeah, sounds pretty dang cool. So, let's say when you aren't animating, you're not doing anything. What are you doing for fun outside of that? Do you go hang out with people? Do you
Party,
read
perhaps.
books? Do you party? Like, how do you unwind?
Go on drives.
Or are you just a taut spring ready to snap?
Probably closer to that. I mean,
Oh boy.
I
It's a
rarely
good thing you aren't in school.
I rarely don't have something I'm working on, or if on the few occasions where I don't.
Not this weekend.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, but see that again, I'm rarely the one making the plans because I normally have so much going on that Man, I can't get a hold on this.
Try
You wanna just
tightening the
tighten
knob
it,
on
yeah.
the side if you can. I don't know if it just keeps
It's
drifting.
just drooping, yeah.
I'm a crumbly
Innovative.
canyon wall, and I'm taking you with me.
Maybe bend it up a bit.
So even
There you go.
even with the stuff happening this weekend, didn't plan it. I do hang out with friends a lot, but it's rarely something that I planned
Sure.
Okay.
beforehand. Or we go. This year has been flooded with parties, which
Yeah.
took a huge cut out of my animation time. But it's worth it because
Gotta
having
get the social aspect, man.
having people in your life is worth it. I think that's another big reason
Yep.
why I became such good friends with this person from Poland.
Yeah.
During the worst of my obsession, I had very few friends, and I have made a huge effort since 2018, since joining the class, to work on having relationships and having people in my life that
Yeah.
mattered.
Okay. And I'm gonna counter you on this. I'm not so sure that obsessions are a bad thing.
Sorry, you're not.
I'm
what?
not so sure that obsessions are a bad thing. I'm not convinced.
Well, I mean, I wasn't either, and the obsession thing wasn't something I always noticed I had, and then when I started noticing it, it was more something I joked about.
Mm-hmm.
But last week, I had to take Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off of work because I came down with really bad stomach problems
Mm-hmm.
that were caused from stress and from.
Oh.
So, I'm normally a pretty healthy person, but during the last 2 months, I was so obsessed with trying to finish this episode. I have my animatics, like watchable versions of my episodes that aren't
Mhm.
animated, but they're watchable, and they were normally really sketchy. And finally, my friend convinced me, like, these are good. You need to put them online. And I kept thinking, well, I drew them all pencil, and it's really sketchy and bad. You can barely tell what's happening. Let me redraw it. It's a lot of work, but let me redraw it and draw the backgrounds and color it in and put that on YouTube. And September is a really important time for me. It's when a lot of big things normally happen to me. In the year
And
before,
you just noticed this in your personal life?
I just noticed it. I just knew that I just all of a sudden realized that it was September, and that the previous September I had ruined my back, but I had bought a house, and I was going through a lot of different things with my relationships, and so it was a really, really important time in my life. And the year before that, I had gone to meet Don Bluth, my childhood hero. I had become an animator. I had met some of my best friends, and so on and so forth. I'd realized I normally have big things happen to me in September, so it became suddenly really important to me that I released this episode in September, and I didn't have a lot of time because September was halfway over. So I spent a lot of time trying to finish that episode, and I wasn't eating much, and when I ate, it was like a slice of bread or a packet of ramen. Like, it was not a lot of food, and it wasn't very good food. And so even though I finished it, and the next week I started trying to, I wasn't like trying to not eat healthy before, and I think I had probably some vegetables, maybe.
Mhm.
But it becomes an obsessive blur and you don't notice things. And then so this week or that week I was trying to eat again and trying to get better about it. And then finally we went to that party. I had a lot of alcohol, and despite the fact that once again that just made my stomach like a hot mess, and I kept feeling, okay, I maybe need to sit down from this one. I just need to cool off for a second because it feels like heartburn in my stomach.
Mhm.
And people kept being like, eat this pizza. And I was like, oh, I can't eat it. I'm way too full, and my stomach is on fire. This is too acidic. And they were like, eat the damn pizza. You're going to throw up. And I'm like, I'll throw up if I eat it. And they eat the damn pizza. So I eat the pizza. I throw up. I get home. I sleep like a baby. I felt fine. I wake up, no hangover, but my stomach is killing me, and I'm not sure what happened. And finally, I'm realizing I didn't go get it looked at, but it was something very similar to an ulcer.
Mhm.
It was a lot of stress and a lot of not taking care of your body. So from that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I wasn't going to work, wasn't working on stuff, and was basically eating an almost completely vegan diet. And
Okay.
I've been on a still mostly completely vegan diet since then, trying to get my health back.
Dang.
It's helped.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of weight.
Hey, there you go.
Is it because you eat less, or?
I think it's a mixture of having thrown up, eating less, and then the stuff I'm putting back in is like
better.
I mean, vegetables go right through you. So
Yeah.
it's been like vegetables and water for the last 2 weeks almost.
Dang. It's a lot less calories for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Slim you out real quick.
Well, Noah happened to have this obsessive disorder, and we joke about him having autism quite a bit. So, with that being said, there might be medicine to help you chill the fuck out a bit.
I don't take medicine.
Me neither.
But like I said, I did a lot of thinking on it, and I'm not so sure that it's a bad thing. I just need to channel it right and be able to balance everything with it, you know?
Yeah.
Because when I do get on something, then that is my entire being, and so I understand.
Yeah.
Understand exactly.
I think, yeah, that's the exact boat I was in. And it used to be easier for me because I used to meditate, but I ended up deciding that I'm too busy and I just kind of cut it out of my life. And, I used to go jogging all the time and do workouts, and I kind of cut that out when I got especially when I was doing that episode, I was getting real bad about it.
Yeah.
So I just cut everything out. And so now I'm trying to put it all back in. It's been a little heart of the stomach problem now.
Yep.
You know, and the back has still been a little bit of a problem. So it's like, should have learned the first time. But so I don't think I need medicine. I just need to learn how to manage that time or, focus it,
Yeah, it's all about balance, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just find it, because when you go all in on one thing, then everything else suffers, you know? And I've definitely found that even with a relationship and stuff, when I start getting too obsessive about something, then that starts lacking and it just causes problems that way. It's just, yeah.
You could say negative problems compound quite a bit.
Oh,
Is that a good segue?
That was a good segue.
Thank you.
Beautiful, Logan.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Touted it in wonder.
All right, we'll go over this really quick because I wasn't a huge fan of it.
No.
The Compound Effect. We're going to go over this book really quick.
Who's it by?
Who cares?
It's by Darren Hardy.
Yeah, so basically this book said small things, if you keep doing small things, small habits, yada, yada, then they will build into bigger things. Financially, you start small, save $10 a day, whatever, and then it'll grow into $100 a day. You just keep
Slow
doing
and steady wins the race.
Correct.
One thing I did like about it, though, one takeaway, is the tracking what you're doing. I like that part where he's saying track everything, like how much money you spend in a day, write everything down, and track what you eat in a day. Basically track it so you know like what you're doing, and so you can start changing those behaviors into better behaviors.
Yeah, that was interesting. It could be helpful with a notebook quite a bit.
But
It'd be
that's
good
kind
to
of and anything that I got for him.
That's pretty much the whole book right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our next book is going to be Ideal by Ayn Rand.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in 2 weeks. Sound good? Or do we need to
Love it.
extend it out? I know you're talking a little bit about how the books are getting a little bit much for you.
Oh no, I thought we were doing every week.
Oh,
I thought so too.
well, we were going to, and then it started getting to be a lot, so we'll do every 2 weeks.
I like every 2 weeks more.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We definitely need to figure out the Zoom stuff for when I'm back down in Arizona.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When's
or literally anything. I think I'll be heading down there mid-November, and I should be
So we gotta get that sorted out now.
correct. So I should be down there until, I think I'll be down there 2 or 3 weeks. So end of November, beginning of December sometime. So
Dope.
Are you gonna have to miss Christmas?
not Christmas. I don't think I'll miss Christmas.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving I will. I'm planning on not being here. So
Sucky.
if
Luckily,
I am,
you're
that's a
not missing out
bonus.
on shit. Yeah.
I will, because I won't be with the family.
Oh, if you're here,
True.
on then you can be in this chair and you can be the guest star.
Yeah. No, they already interviewed me
Oh yeah.
2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, 3
Oh
weeks
yeah,
ago.
you had your first flight experience. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, but it was more my first flight experience with another student versus an instructor. Yeah, I've been flying for quite a bit now,
Yeah.
and I actually just recently became a commercial pilot.
Whoa.
So
sweet.
I have that licensing. I'm going down to basically an instructor academy in Arizona, and then I'll be doing some multi-engine ratings in December, and I should be a full-fledged instructor in January next year.
Wow.
So, yes, sir.
You turned that around quick.
Oh, I do everything quick. Just freaking full bore. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Yep.
I started in mid-May, so, yeah.
obsessive as shit, to say the least.
It's the only way. It just has to be channeled.
Yeah, see, I do things quick too, but I was going quick down the wrong road. So it's been a lot of climbing out of the hole I dug.
Yeah, sometimes when you're flying along at 150 miles an hour, you don't know whether there's a brick wall at the end or more road, you know?
Yeah.
So, and generally you find that out about once a year for me. I'll get sick for about a week, and then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Happens. But it's super fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Anything else that you can add for the listeners? Any life advice? Anything like that? Any final thoughts?
I would say learn how to learn. That's been my big struggle.
Hear, hear.
And that's hard because there's no one to teach it to you. But here's
Yeah.
one.
Limitless we read kind of helped.
Mm-hmm.
We read a book called Limitless. That one kind of helped.
Oh, you'll need to send it to me. But
We will.
my big advice is make a roadmap. Everything is difficult, but when you break it into a bunch of small chunks and you know which things need to happen before other things,
Mhm.
it makes everything so much easier. But that's like on the way to become an artist. That's not always obvious because art is more art than science.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it is science. So there are certain things you can learn first and it will help you. And I didn't learn them in the right order and it did not help me.
Fair enough. No,
Awesome.
appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
Thanks
what is your
Take care.
channel called so that the listeners can check it out? If you're willing to share it, let's pop all your
Social media.
pop all your socials, everything. Now's your time.
Let me find out real quick.
All
No
right.
worries. Yeah, quite interesting. I didn't know anything about animating, really.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Are we trying to have a guest next time, too?
We'll talk about it after. We'll see.
Sure.
While he's looking that up.
I've no internet here.
Oh, don't you?
No.
We can get
Okay.
it after and link it all.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I'm Tabletop Animation 1.
Okay. On YouTube, that's your channel?
That's my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And I think on Instagram I am Bard Coln. Maybe Bard Kolsch.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Just get it after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to link it for you.
This shows how much I don't pay attention to my social media and how
Yeah.
that's been a learning curve for me.
Happens.
Absolutely.
And then for the listeners, as far as our group goes, make sure to check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We definitely have social media. We've got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, pretty much
all of
wherever
them.
you get your social medias. Check us out. Make sure to check out our merchandise page on our website, www.infinitysummitgroup.com. Get yourself some Infinity Summit Group merch. We still do have those coins. Again, they are $12 a piece, and they do come with a customized envelope and a wax seal on them. So let us know, guys, and also give us any recommendations for guests we should have on the podcast.
Yes.
Books.
Yeah,
We'd like to know about books you want us to read
and
too.
books, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah. Cool.
Peace out.